I ended up homeless and out in the street with no money. No one to call, no place to go, no food to eat. Nights were long, days felt endless. And in that silence, in that loneliness, I thought my life was over. But let me tell you something. Sometimes being stripped of everything is the very thing that positions you for the life you were created to live. I had to learn that disappearing wasn't the end. It was the beginning. When the world didn't see me, when nobody cared. When I was invisible, I went into the shadows and started working on me. I started dreaming when I had nothing. I started building in silence. I disappeared from the noise so I could finally hear the voice inside me that said, "You're not done yet. Understand this success doesn't show up in the spotlight. It's born in the dark. Discipline, focus, and faith are forged when no one is watching. The pain of sleeping on the street, the hunger in my stomach, the tears I cried alone, they became the fuel that pushed me toward my purpose. And what I thought was my ending was only a chapter in my story. So if you feel lost, abandoned, invisible, don't give up. Disappear into your purpose. Work when no one believes. Keep going when no one sees. Because the same street that tried to break you will one day be the road you walk down in victory. And when that day comes, you'll look back and realize the struggle wasn't there to destroy you. It was there to shape you. I ended up homeless and out in the street with no money. I don't think people really understand what that means until you've lived it. It's not just about not having a roof over your head. It's about losing your sense of security, your sense of worth, your sense of identity. It's about being invisible. People walk right past you like you're nothing, like you don't exist. And after a while, you start to believe them. You start to believe maybe you are nothing. Maybe you really don't matter. But I want you to hear me today. What looks like the end of your story can be the very beginning of your breakthrough. I didn't know it back then. I thought the street was my graveyard. But what I didn't realize is that it was my classroom. The pain I was feeling was teaching me. The silence of those nights was shaping me. And the emptiness of my pockets was forcing me to fill myself with something that money could never buy: faith, determination, and vision. When you're broke, when you're hungry, when you don't know where the next meal is coming from, you find out real quick who you are. You find out if you're willing to fight or if you're ready to quit. And let me be honest with you, there were nights I wanted to quit. There were nights I laid my head down on the cold ground and begged God to just take me out of here. But even in those dark moments, something deep down inside me whispered, "Not yet. You're not finished. Your story isn't over." You see, sometimes God has to strip everything away from you just to show you what he already placed inside of you. We get so caught up in the cars, the clothes, the approval of people, that we forget the greatest gift is already living within us. The power to create, the power to endure, the power to rise again. And being out there on that street with nothing left to hold on to, I discovered that I still had me. I still had breath in my body. I still had dreams in my heart. And as long as I had that, I wasn't finished. I started to realize that rock bottom wasn't my ending place. It was my foundation. It was the bedrock God was using to build something stronger in me. Because when you hit the bottom, you stop caring about what people think. You stop trying to impress. You stop trying to keep up appearances. When you're at the bottom, all that matters is survival and truth. And the truth was, I had a vision inside of me that the world hadn't seen yet. I had a story to tell, a purpose to live, and no street corner could take that away. Let me tell you something. If you're listening to me right now and you feel like your life is falling apart, if you feel like you've lost everything, if you feel like nobody sees you, I need you to understand this. What looks like loss is often preparation. What feels like rejection is often redirection. That place of emptiness you're in right now, it's not meant to kill you. It's meant to prepare you for the version of yourself you've been too afraid to become. I learned something powerful when I had nothing. I learned that pain can push you into purpose. I learned that sometimes the worst thing that happens to you can lead to the best thing that ever happens to you. Because it wakes you up, it shakes you. It forces you to see that you can't keep living small. You can't keep running from your calling. You can't keep playing it safe. Life will break you down to build you back up. People used to laugh at me. They told me I was a failure. They said I was crazy to believe I could become something more. But what they didn't know is that my time on the street was sharpening me. Every no I heard was pushing me closer to my eyes. Every door that closed on me was redirecting me to the one door I actually needed to walk through. Every person that left me alone was making room for the right people who would one day walk in. And let me tell you, when that breakthrough finally came, it didn't just feel like success. It felt like redemption. It felt like every tear, every hungry night, every lonely step had been worth it. Because the man I became on the other side of homelessness wasn't the same man that walked into it. I had faith I never knew I could have. I had strength I never believed I could carry. And I had vision that was clearer than it had ever been before. So hear me when I say this: don't despise your rock bottom. Don't curse the place that broke you. Don't let shame tell you that because you fell, you can't rise again. Because the truth is, some of the most powerful people you will ever meet go through their lowest point before they ever reach their highest. Some of the greatest success stories were born in places of failure, poverty, and pain. Your rock bottom doesn't disqualify you, it qualifies you, it makes you real. It makes you resilient, it gives you a testimony that nobody can take away. And when you rise from that place, when you build yourself back up from nothing, you don't just succeed, you inspire. You give hope to people who are still in the dark, still in the struggle, still trying to find their way. So if you're listening right now and you're in that place, out in the street, broken, rejected, abandoned, lost, remember this: the story isn't over. Your current situation is not your final destination. Rock bottom is where the breakthrough begins. Hold on, keep moving, keep believing. Because one day, you'll look back on this season of your life and realize it wasn't punishment, it was preparation. And the very thing that tried to break you will be the reason you rise. There came a point in my life where I realized the greatest breakthrough didn't come when I was surrounded by people, when I was chasing attention, or when I was trying to prove myself to the world. My real breakthrough came when I disappeared. And I don't mean disappeared as in giving up on life. I mean disappeared from the noise, from the constant distractions, from the voices that told me who I was and who I wasn't. See, sometimes in order to find yourself, you have to step away from everything that keeps you from hearing your own soul. When you're always trying to be seen, always trying to be heard, always trying to keep up with everybody else, you can lose sight of the voice that matters most, the one inside you. I had to learn that disappearing wasn't weakness. Disappearing was strength. Disappearing was the moment I finally said, I'm done letting the world tell me who I am. I'm gonna sit in silence until I discover it for myself. I remember when I first stepped back. People thought I lost my mind. They said, what happened? Why didn't you come around anymore? Why don't we see you at the places you used to go? Why don't you pick up the phone like you used to? And I'll be honest, it hurt at first, because part of me wanted to explain myself, to make them understand. But then I realized something. If people can't understand your silence, they'll never respect your purpose. And I stopped living for their approval. I went into a season where I didn't answer every call. I didn't show up to every event. I didn't try to be everywhere for everyone all the time. I disappeared into my work. I disappeared into my vision. I disappeared into my prayer closet. I disappeared into the quiet spaces where God could speak to me, where my creativity could come alive, where my discipline could be built without distraction. And let me tell you, when you disappear like that, people will misunderstand you. They'll think you fell off. They'll think you gave up. They'll even talk about you like you don't exist anymore. But that's the beauty of it. You're not disappearing to give up. You're disappearing to grow. Have you ever noticed how a seed works? You put it in the ground and then it disappears. Nobody sees it. Nobody celebrates it. Nobody checks on it. It looks like nothing is happening. But underneath that soil, something powerful is taking place. Roots are growing, strength is being formed. That seed is getting ready to break through the dirt and become something greater than anyone expected. That's what disappearing does for your life. It hides you long enough for you to grow roots so deep that when you finally rise, nothing can shake you. There were nights when I was working in silence and I felt invisible. And the enemy tried to whisper, nobody sees you. Nobody cares. You're wasting your time. But I had to remind myself, I'm not invisible, I'm incubating. I'm not forgotten, I'm being formed. And when the time is right, what I've been building in the dark will shine in the light. Let me tell you, there's a danger in being seen too soon. Because if you show up before you're ready, the very stage you prayed for will become the place that breaks you. The very spotlight you thought you wanted will expose cracks you never took time to fix. That's why disappearing is necessary. It's in the disappearing that you heal, that you prepare, that you discipline yourself enough to handle the weight of the blessing that's coming. I can't tell you how many times I wanted to show people what I was working on to prove to them that I was doing something with my life. But then I learned, not everybody needs to see your process. Some things need to grow in secret. Some visions are too fragile to expose before their time. Some dreams can't survive the weight of other people's opinions. And so I kept quiet, I kept building, I kept praying. I stayed in the shadows until my season came. And here's the truth. Disappearing isn't just about pulling away from people. It's also about disappearing from the version of yourself that no longer serves your future. You've got to disappear from your old habits, disappear from your comfort zones, disappear from the excuses that kept you stuck. You've got to disappear from the fear that says you'll never make it. You've got to disappear from the voices in your head that keep telling you to quit. Because if you don't step away from the old, you'll never step into the new. Disappearing is not running away. It's running towards your purpose. It's not isolation, it's preparation. It's not rejection, it's protection. Protection from the voices, the environments, the distractions that will pull you away from what you're called to do. So if you feel like you're in a season where nobody sees you, where nobody claps for you, where nobody acknowledges the work you're putting in, don't be discouraged. Don't think that because the world can't see it, it's not happening. The greatest work happens when nobody is watching. The greatest growth happens in silence. The greatest transformations are born in the disappearing. And when the day comes, when you finally emerge, when you step out of the shadows, you won't need to announce yourself. You won't need to beg anyone to notice. The fruit of your discipline, the strength of your character, the power of your preparation will speak louder than anything you could ever say. So disappear. Disappear so you can heal. Disappear so you can grow. Disappear so you can find your voice again. Disappear so you can sharpen your vision. Disappear so that when you return, you are not the same. You are stronger, wiser, clear, and ready for the very life you've been praying for. Because disappearing isn't the end. It's the beginning of everything. There was a season in my life where everything I wanted seemed so far away. Every dream felt impossible. Every step forward felt like 2 steps back. And in that moment, I realized something. The only way I was going to make it through was by holding on to faith, building discipline, and learning how to focus when everything around me was screaming at me to quit. Faith is believing when you can't see it. It's waking up every morning with no evidence that your situation will change and still choosing to believe it will. That's not easy. It's hard to believe when the bills are piling up. It's hard to believe when you've been rejected over and over again. It's hard to believe when you've given everything you have and nothing seems to work. But faith isn't about seeing the promise. Faith is about trusting the process. Faith is about saying, I don't know how, I don't know when, but I know it will happen because I refuse to let go of hope. But let me be clear, faith without discipline is just a dream. Faith gives you the vision, but discipline builds the reality. Discipline is waking up early when you don't feel like it. Discipline is saying no to distractions when everybody else is partying. Discipline is choosing to keep going even on the days when you're tired, frustrated, and ready to throw in the towel. People see success and think it's magic. They think it's luck. No, success is discipline, repeated day after day, year after year, when nobody is watching and nobody is clapping. I remember nights when I wanted to sleep, but I had to keep working. I remember days when I want to give up, but I forced myself to take one more step. And every time I pushed myself beyond my feelings, I discovered something. Discipline doesn't just build results, it builds character. Discipline makes you stronger than your excuses. Discipline teaches you how to say yes to your purpose and no to your weakness. Discipline is what separates who wish from those who win. And then there's focus. Focus is the glue that ties it all together. You can have faith, you can even have discipline. But if your focus is scattered, you'll keep running in circles. Focus means locking in on your goal and refusing to let anything pull you away. Focus means shutting out the noise, the gossip, the opinions, the doubts, the fear, and keeping your eyes on the vision inside your heart. Let me tell you, the enemy of progress isn't always failure. Sometimes it's distraction. You can waste years chasing things that look good but aren't for you. You can lose time trying to please people who were never meant to be part of your destiny. That's why focus is so important. Focus protects your energy. Focus makes sure that all your discipline and all your faith are moving in the right direction. There were times when I almost lost focus, times when I started listening to the wrong people, times when I let fear creep, and times when I doubted myself. And every single time I lost focus, I lost progress. That's why I had to make a choice. I could either keep giving my attention to things that drained me, or I could focus on the things that built me. And I chose focus. I chose to pour my energy into the vision God placed in my heart, not into the opinions of people who didn't understand my journey. Faith, discipline, and focus, they work together. Faith gives you the why, discipline gives you the how, and focus gives you the where. Faith tells you what's possible. Discipline gives you the tools to reach it. Focus makes sure you don't lose your way on the journey. And when all three come together, there is nothing you cannot achieve. But here's the truth: walking in faith will test you. Building discipline will break you. Staying focused will cost you. You will lose some people. You will lose some opportunities. You will lose some comfort. But what you gain will be worth it, because when you live with faith, discipline, and focus, you stop living for survival. You start living for purpose. I've seen what happens when people give up too soon. I've seen people with incredible dreams throw them away because the process was too hard. And I've seen people with average talent achieve extraordinary things because they had the faith to believe, the discipline to work, and the focus to stay the course. It's not always the most gifted who succeed, it's the most consistent. So don't give up. Don't let the struggles of today blind you from the promise of tomorrow. Don't let temporary setbacks make you forget the permanent calling on your life. Every no, every rejection, every failure, it's all part of the training. It's preparing you, it's shaping you. It's making sure that when the blessing finally comes, you'll be ready to handle it. When you feel like quitting, remember your faith. When you feel weak, lean on your discipline. When you feel distracted, remind yourself of your focus. And keep moving forward one step at a time. Because one day, when you least expect it, the doors will open, the opportunities will appear, and everything you've been working for will fall into place. And when that day comes, you'll realize something powerful. You didn't just build success, you built yourself. You built faith that can't be shaken. You built discipline that can't be broken. You built focus that can't be distracted. And that foundation will carry you for the rest of your life. So if you're listening right now, don't run from the process. Embrace it. Trust your faith, strengthen your discipline, sharpen your focus. Because the life you dream of is not built in one big moment. It's built in the small, quiet, disciplined, focused moments when nobody's watching. Keep going, keep believing, keep building, because your breakthrough is closer than you think. Guys, I used to ask myself, why so much pain? Why so many struggles? Why do I have to suffer like this while it feels like everybody else is moving forward? And for the longest time, I thought my pain was punishment. I thought maybe I wasn't good enough. Maybe God had forgotten about me. Maybe life had just decided I wasn't meant for more. But I came to learn something powerful. Pain is not punishment. It's preparation. Pain is not there to destroy you. It's there to push you in the very purpose you were born for. See, purpose is not born in comfort. Nobody discovers their destiny sitting on the couch, living an easy life. Purpose is birthed in pain. It's birthed in those moments when your heart is breaking, when your spirit feels crushed, when you've cried every tear you can cry. That's when the seed of purpose begins to grow. Because pain wakes you up. Pain forces you to ask bigger questions. Pain makes you look deeper than the surface. And when you start digging, that's when you discover who you really are. When I was at my lowest, when I was hurting the most, I didn't realize that my pain was shaping me. Every disappointment was building resilience. Every betrayal was teaching me discernment. Every failure was strengthening my character. The very things I thought were breaking me were actually preparing me. And when I finally started to rise, I rose stronger, wiser, and more focused than I had ever been before. Let me tell you something, your pain has a purpose. Those nights you couldn't sleep, those tears nobody saw, those battles you fought in silence, they are not wasted. They are part of your story. They are the chapters that give meaning to your victory. Because nobody respects a story without struggle. Nobody is inspired by life without hardship. The power of your testimony is not in how easy your life has been, but in how you kept going when life got hard. I had to stop asking why me and start asking what now? Because pain will paralyze you if you keep focusing on the why. Why did they leave me? Why did I lose that job? Why did life turn out this way? Those questions will trap you in the past. But when you shift the question to what now? What can I learn? How can I grow? How can I use this to help somebody else? That's when your pain turns into purpose. Purpose means taking what tried to kill you and using it to give somebody else life. Purpose means turning your wounds into wisdom, your scars into strength, your losses into lessons. And when you start living like that, not only do you rise, you help others rise too. Because people don't need someone who's never been through anything. People need someone who knows the struggle, someone who understands the pain, someone who can look them in the eye and say, I've been where you are, and I promise you, you can make it through. There's a scripture that says what the enemy meant for evil, God will turn for good. And I believe that with everything in me, because I've seen it in my own life. The very things that tried to destroy me became the fuel that pushed me forward. The very pain I thought would break me became the foundation I built my future on. If I hadn't gone through it, I wouldn't be here. If I hadn't suffered, I wouldn't be strong enough to handle the blessings I have now. And here's what I want you to know: your pain is your gift. I know it doesn't feel like it right now. I know it feels heavy, unfair, unbearable. But one day you're going to look back and realize that the very thing that hurt you the most was the thing that transformed you the most. One day you'll stand in the middle of your purpose and thank God for the very pain you once begged him to take away. But you can't stop in the pain. You can't camp in the hurt. You can't let the struggle define you. You've got to keep moving. You've got to let it shape you, mold you, prepare you, but don't let it stop you. Because if you stop, the pain wins. If you quit, the pain goes to waste. But if you keep going, the pain becomes the pathway to your destiny. I know some of you are carrying pain so deep nobody else knows about it. You smile on the outside, but you're breaking on the inside. You show up for everyone else. But when you go home at night, you collapse under the weight of it all. And I want you to hear me clearly. You are not alone, and you are not broken beyond repair. That pain you're carrying, as heavy as it feels, is the very thing that's going to unlock your purpose. Don't curse it. Don't hide from it. Don't numb it. Face it. Embrace it. And then use it. Because the world doesn't need more people pretending to be perfect. The world needs people who have been through something, who carry scars, who will walk through fire and come out stronger. That's what makes your purpose real. That's what makes your story powerful. So if you're in pain right now, don't give up. Don't assume this is the end. Trust that your pain has meaning. Trust that your suffering has a reason. Trust that your tears are watering the very purpose you were born for. And when the time is right, all that pain will turn into power. All that hurt will turn into healing. All those wounds will turn into wisdom. One day, you'll stand in front of people and tell your story. And the very thing that once made you cry will now make others believe. The very thing that once broke you will now build others. The very thing that once looked like your greatest weakness will now be the source of your greatest strength. Pain doesn't mean it's over. Pain means you're being prepared. Pain means something bigger is on the way. So don't give up in the middle of it. Keep walking. Keep believing. Keep trusting. Because your pain is not the end. It's the doorway to your purpose. So here we are. We've walked through the pain. We've looked at the struggle. We've talked about disappearing, about faith, about discipline, about focus. We've talked about what it means to turn pain into purpose. But I don't want you to leave here today just inspired for a moment. I don't want this to be one of those speeches that lights you up for a few hours, and then by tomorrow, life knocks the fire out of you again. I want this to sink deep. Because everything you've heard, every word, doesn't mean anything unless you take it and live it. Listen to me, I don't know where you are right now. I don't know what you're facing. Maybe you're at rock bottom. Maybe you're in the season of disappearing where nobody sees you, nobody knows what you're building. Maybe you're trying your best to hold on to faith when everything around you tells you it's impossible. Maybe you're tired, maybe you're broken, maybe you're ready to give up. But I came here to tell you this. Your story isn't over. I don't care how dark it looks. I don't care how many times you've been knocked down. I don't care how empty your bank account is, how heavy your heart feels, or how lonely your nights are. This is not the end. This is the in-between. And if you don't quit, if you don't walk away, if you don't give up, you will see why you had to go through everything you went through. Because here's the truth. Every scar you carry is a sign that you survived. Every tear you cried has watered the soil of your destiny. Every setback is setting you up for the comeback you didn't even see coming. And one day you will look back and realize it all had to happen. The pain, the loss, the rejection. It wasn't random. It was leading you to something greater than you could imagine. But it starts with you. You've got to believe again. You've got to decide that your past will not define your future. You've got to stop waiting for people to rescue you and start building yourself from the inside out. You've got to trust that the God who kept you through the darkest nights has not brought you this far to leave you. And you've got to work. Discipline yourself. Focus your mind. Block out the noise. Chase the vision. Not halfway, not when it feels good, but every single day. Because success doesn't come to the strongest or the smartest or the luckiest. It comes to the ones who refuse to quit. So don't quit, not today, not tomorrow, not ever. If you need to cry, cry, but don't quit. If you need to rest, rest, but don't quit. If you stumble, if you fall, if you fail, get back up and keep moving. Because as long as you're still breathing, as long as you've still got breath in your body, you've still got purpose. And when that breakthrough finally comes, and it will come, you'll understand why you had to fight, why you had to struggle, why you had to disappear, why you had to endure. you'll understand that every ounce of pain was pushing you toward this moment. So I leave you with this. Don't waste your pain. Don't waste your process. Don't waste your life waiting for things to change. Step into it, own it. Believe it, love it. And when you do, the world won't just see your success. They'll see your story. They'll see your testimony. They'll see proof that no matter how far you fall, no matter how deep the struggle, with faith, with discipline, with focus, and with courage, you can rise. It's your time now. Don't quit. Don't stop. Keep moving forward. Your best days are still ahead of you.